What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another movie review. If you guys are new here, feel free to click that subscribe button and that bell notification icon for more reviews, reactions, rankings, and more movie content. I'm very excited for this review because I've been waiting for this movie for over a year now. It's from one of my favorite filmmakers working today, Edgar Wright. This is his new horror film released in theaters finally. We have Last Night in Soho. The movie, of course, is directed by Edgar Wright, and it is co-written with him and Krysty Wilson-Cairns. And the movie stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Diana Rigg. An aspiring fashion designer is mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, where she encounters a dazzling wannabe singer. But the glamour is not all it appears to be, and the dreams of the past start to crack and splinter into something darker. Edgar Wright is just a filmmaker that whenever a new movie of his comes out, everybody is just so anticipating it. Whether it's a Baby Driver or the Cornetto trilogy, like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, or Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, just whatever he does, people are just very excited for. And I just love the cast and just hearing the praises of this movie. People coming out of film festivals like TIFF saying it's probably the most darkest Edgar Wright film and like one of the best films of this year. So all the hype and anticipation was definitely there for this movie. I just love watching a film and examining it from start to finish and getting immersed into that world. Whenever a new film comes out that does those aspects to the best of its advantage, I know I'm watching a great film. And Last Night in Soho did that for me. Last Night in Soho might be my new favorite movie this year so far. I was just so immersed with this movie from start to finish. From a performance aspect, direction aspect, suspense on the edge of my seat aspect, and just a filmmaking aspect. Like, this is a movie, and I cannot recommend this movie enough. I'm sure you're gonna go see it regardless, but I just really love this movie. Edgar Wright's direction, his world that he created, his 1960s world mixed with new world, like the world in this movie is great. The production design is off the charts. It brings you into this world, and I just really was immersed in both timelines. Chung Hoon Chung's cinematography is fantastic in here. Stephen Price's score is amazing. It just getting into the 1960s world for the first time just really shocked me. Thomasin McKenzie is an actress I started to gain more attention on after Jojo Rabbit. I thought she was great in that movie, but I haven't found a performance of hers yet where I was completely wowed by her. But in Last Night in Soho, she wowed me in this movie. She's that normal character girl that is very awkward, moving into a brand new town where she feels like an outcast. And that's something we can all relate to for sure. So we instantly love her character. And she's meeting all these new people. And as well, she's having dark flashbacks of this woman in the 1960s played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Thinks it's all glamour and then completely goes off the rails in the third act. Thomasin McKenzie's emotions coming out in the third act is some of the best acting I've seen this year so far, and she is amazing in here. She definitely is this movie by far. And then you got Anya Taylor-Joy in here, who is very gorgeous, and she's also great in here. Getting to see her character with this glamorous life, and then in that Edgar Wright sense of direction, you get to see some really interesting, unique things with her character. All these characters brought something to this movie, and they all definitely knocked it out of the park. This movie's insane. Like, it is off the chains. Now, when they promoted this movie as like a new Edgar Wright horror film, I wasn't 100% sure if it'd be full-on horror or if he'd throw in his Edgar Wright comedy in there. This is the least Edgar Wright film I've seen by far. It goes full-on horror in the third act. Now, this is where the film gets a little divisive. A lot of people hated the third act, and then there were some people that loved it. I don't understand the hate for the third act at all. I thought the third act was amazing. It was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. And of course, there is a twist in this movie, which I will not spoil. I would say a few I got right, and one I did not get right. I love when I can predict what's going to happen with this movie in the third act, and then I'm wrong. I think that's great. I think the twist in here really works, and it really shocked me. Well, I can understand it may not work for everybody, but for me, I thought the third act goes balls off the walls like I wanted it to, and I wasn't expecting it at all. And I'm thankful for Edgar Wright for doing that, because I just really enjoyed this movie. And while this movie is almost 2 hours long, I was never bored watching it. I was definitely interested in it from start to finish. Just the story is so interesting, and I love a film with a great story in it. The script is off the chains. Krysty Wilson-Cairns, I want to shout her out as well, because she also co-wrote the script for 1917, and she's become a big name for herself. And with this movie, I think she's gonna become a bigger name as well. And it was also a breath of fresh air to get a screenplay from a woman's perspective as well, because if you watch the story in this movie, you understand why. And I can see that big breath of fresh air in the screenplay, and just seeing the tough to watch scenes in this movie, it is just really fascinating. And I love getting that woman's perspective from Krysty Wilson-Cairns. And I had no idea how the film was going to end. And those are some of my favorite movies. Whenever I can't really predict what's going to happen in a movie, I think that's great. And I was just really interested in what was going to happen for our lead girl, and with Anya Taylor-Joy's character and all these other characters thrown in here. Just, I had no idea what was going to happen. And so those are the best movies for me right there. The runtime is not really a big issue for me. I was definitely not bored at all watching the film. I could definitely understand people's criticisms that it's too long, and it definitely overstayed its welcome. I would say the pacing for the most part is... In the second act, I felt like it was the slowest paced that act by far. They could have sped things up and cut out some scenes that didn't really need to be there in the second act, as well as some of the horror elements weren't perfect and definitely not scary for me. Before I give you guys my final overall thoughts on Last Night in Soho, if this is your guys' first time checking out the channel, if you like this review and you want to see more, hit that like button. And consider clicking that subscribe button for reviews every single week, as well as ranking videos. And I love to talk about movies. And if you love movies as well, you're in the right place. Hit that like and subscribe button, and let's talk movies. Edgar Wright is back, guys. Last Night in Soho is such a daring film, which is really investing. I really love the performances, the direction, just the suspense horror aspect, and it had me interested from start to finish. This will blow your guys' socks off, hopefully, as it did to me. Last Night in Soho is one of 2021's best. And as you guys are seeing coming, I'm giving Last Night in Soho an A+, baby. Might be my favorite movie of the year by far. Definitely do not miss this one. I'm sure you guys aren't. Guys, let me know what you think of Last Night in Soho. If you've seen it already, if you loved it like me, thought it was okay, did you absolutely hate it? Thank you guys so much for watching this review. All my social media links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!